K.Michelle has unfollowed Shamea, and Shamea has since unfollowed back, and Andy Cohen spills some tea about what happened at the Rhoa reunion. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Real Housewives of Atlanta, and there is so much drama, you guys. As you know, recently, the reunion has filmed, right? The reunion has filmed, and Andy Cohen has, you know what I'm saying, spilled a little bit of tea of what went down at this reunion. So I want to shout out No Chaser TV. This is where the clip is coming from. And ultimately, we're going to take a listen and give a reaction. And then also, we're going to speak about the fact that K.Michelle has unfollowed Shamea and also had a message.
We shot the Atlanta reunion during the break. John, it reminded me of Atlanta reunions of the past. It was Portia and I were sitting there because Angela, she just will sit there. She just doesn't stop reading people. And like, she was getting into it with Kelly and then with Shamea, and they're going back and forth and back and forth. And what I said to the group is, I go, here's the problem. Y'all just keep reading each other. There's no stop to the reading. I go, at some point, you have to end with your final best read. You have to be like, okay, this was my best and final read, and I'm going to leave it there, and now I'm going to be quiet. But they just keep going. But Portia and I were sitting there giggling, listening. It was like, I just haven't giggled like that. I remember giggling with Nene when at Phaedra in years past. And boy, Phaedra was she was energized. I will tell you that. It was a really good reunion. It was really good. I'm really loving this group. And oh my God, K.Michelle, just unbelievable.
So, sounds like to me from what Andy Cohen is saying that Shamea and Kelly basically got it the worst at this reunion. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Angela Oakley came to the reunion activated. It sounded like Phaedra, as she always does, saves her job at the reunion and gives us kicks and giggles the following season per usual. And it sounds like Portia, it sounds like outside of the Kelly drama, you know, Portia gets to have an opportunity to sit back and giggle, right? Between the Kelly drama and the drama, of course, with her and Shamea. So we will, you know what I'm saying? Can we drop the trailer? Can we drop the trailer at some point so we can see what it is that we are about to get into at this reunion? Because I am over the season. I am ready for this reunion, you know what I'm saying, to commence so we can really see what's happening. Now, the same day this had dropped from Andy Cohen, Portia had reposted this particular clip in her stories, and then she also did like a hand covering her mouth, blushing emoji, right? And then also this happened with K.Michelle. So K.Michelle has unfollowed Shamea, you guys. K.Michelle has unfollowed Shamea. And at some point, Shamea got wind of this and unfollowed K.Michelle too. This is the same thing that happened with Portia at the end of, you know, last season or whatever the case may be. You know, they had the falling out and all the things. And this was like after the reunion and something else happened. I don't know if it was those YouTube videos or what happened where Shamea and her mom were doing. But basically, Portia had unfollowed Shamea, and then eventually Shamea had unfollowed Portia back, right? And then K.Michelle also had a message that said, a friend to everyone is a friend to nobody. But here's the thing. Portia predicted this. Right? That Shamea was not going to be loyal And I feel like people, regardless if you like Portia or not, you need to reevaluate who really is the bad friend in this situation. Who really is the bad friend in this situation? If you guys were not as close as you once were, and then all of a sudden you see Portia on Real Housewives of Atlanta getting shine, and then you want to pretend to be her bestie again. Then you want to pretend to get close to her again and pretend to be there for her with her divorce from Cordell, right? And then you're on basically every season as a friend of, but you're strategically getting closer to Candy, right? You are strategically showing text messages to the housewives that Portia has beef with that season and hoping that they're going to turn on Portia or do some expose. All of the former and current housewives have all said that you've talked about Portia behind her back. So it was giving, you came on this show with a mission to try to destroy your so-called bestie. And who hangs out with their so-called besties ops that are calling them all types of SLUT and WHORES? As if a lot of y'all don't have some type of past in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are not Mother Teresa. Make it make sense. So ultimately, Shamea finally gets a page and decides last season that she's going to form an alliance to attack all the vets. That there's going to be this newbie alliance. They're all going to come for the vets so they can try to look like they're all of this and all of that. And here's the thing, Shamea, you didn't need to do any of that. Bravo had rolled out the red carpet for you. You know what I'm saying? All you had to do was show us how you are a housewife. Instead, you showed us that you are conniving, that you are two-faced, and that you're fake. So Angela, Oakley, and Drew Sidora caught wind of it, that you're not being the same person as you are on camera, that you're talking cash SHIT about your supposed bestie Portia off camera, but then on camera, you wanted to reap the benefits. You wanted to sit next to Portia at first class. If Portia was planning the trip at Nashville, you wanted to have the best room, to hype up your bestie thing with Portia, but the newbies knew that you were talking about her behind her back and playing in her face. So Angela Oakley was like, oh, so Shamea, this is how you really feel about Portia? I wonder if Portia feels about this, because for 2 seasons in a row, none of the housewives have said that Portia is talking crazy about you behind your back. And even after all these years that you've been a friend of, nobody has said Portia is talking crazy about Shamea behind Shamea's back. So ultimately, Angela Oakley brings it to the forefront, right? Kelly and Britt Eady have a falling out. Britt Eady exposes Shamea's text messages last season and all of this and all of that. And the first attempt at a Shamea alliance completely crumbles. Completely crumbles, completely falls apart, right? So then we have this season where Shamea attempts another alliance with K.Michelle, Pinky, and Kelly, of course. And again, attack all the vets and attack Angela Oakley, attack Portia, attack all these people, and we're going to come out smelling like roses. The audience is going to like us instead, and it flopped. Pinky realized quickly that this was nonsense. This was absolutely nonsense. Kelly, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, has all of these ties with Shamea, allegedly has, hooked her up with a, Marvel character boyfriend, you know what I'm saying, has her staying at her townhouse, spending all this time, with somebody that you've barely known for a couple of years, getting all of this access, getting all of this, closeness and everything else. Like, it's very weird. It's very weird how quickly Shamea just imposes herself into other people's lives and expects you and demands of you to be loyal, right? But what happens with alliances is that ultimately they do not last, right? And ultimately people still have their own free will to form their own opinion and their own experiences. And Portia had said early on in the Carlos King interview that K.Michelle chose the wrong side, that K.Michelle chose the wrong team. Because here's the thing, Portia's not going to be the person, unlike Shamea, that is going to spill the tea on who Shamea really is. She's going to allow for people to figure it out for themselves. And Right or wrong, yes, K.Michelle has been doing some weird and goofy stuff this season, but it sounds like K.Michelle eventually figured out that Shamea is a friend to nobody. And that is what she ended up tweeting. A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody, right? But ultimately, you know what I'm saying? This was never going to work anyways if Shamea allegedly was already telling K.Michelle from the jump that, quote unquote, none of her Atlanta friends want her to be friends with K.Michelle. This was never going to work. You guys were in an alliance for the simple fact y'all were hoping to once again try to take down the vets, and it didn't work to your favor. And it sounds like K.Michelle might have exposed Shamea at the reunion or turned on Shamea at the reunion. So it sounds like Shamea potentially is on an island. It sounds like her potential cool people might just be down to Kelly and potentially Pinky. And my thing is, what is the point of coming back? So you're just going to keep coming back and continue to dig yourself further and further to the point that the housewives have to make an executive decision and refuse to film with you? Like is that how you're trying to go out like this? For the desperation of fame and clout of being on Real Housewives of Atlanta, because it has nothing to do with you needing the money, because you're married to a multimillionaire, you live in a nice home, you have a nice family. So all of this is for the sole purpose of fame and some type of evil revenge that you want against Portia, because you thought SHIT was going to be sweet in a fallout with Portia, who Bravo is pushing as the face of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Make it make sense. You're either going to have to grovel and make up with Portia, or I'm not seeing a bright future for you other than scenes of you and Kelly doing nonsense all season. And nobody's going to care about that. Nobody's going to care about that. And then this latest move, trying to pull this colorism stunt and Carlos King pushing it, not a good look. Not a good look. In 17 seasons, that has never been what the issues have been on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And ultimately, most of this cast is dark-skinned black women, and the issue at hand has not been about their skin tone. The issue at hand has been about other things that have been said or done that have gone too far, and it's been, you know what I'm saying, flat out going at that person directly based off of their behavior, based off of their actions, zero to do with their skin tone. But Shamea cannot fathom that people do not like her. Shamea cannot fathom that her little schemes and her attempts and whatever coaching she's receiving to be a housewife, all of it is failing, all of it is flopping. So she keeps trying to pull stuff out of her ASS to justify why the fans do not like her, why the fans do not see it for her, why the fans keep saying she was better off as a friend of. She can't fathom it. She can't fathom that, you know, people are defending more Angela Oakley even at this point with her. You know what I'm saying? She can't fathom that there is not enough Portia haters to ascend Shamea to the top of the leaderboard in the Real Housewives of Atlanta ranking. She doesn't get it. She refuses to accept it, and as a result, you're either going to be just you and Kelly and potentially Pinky filming scenes, or I don't see the point of coming back. I do not see the point of coming back if you are going to want to constantly be in a state of division and divisiveness and not wanting to resolve issues with the other housewives. That's not going to work for this type of show. This show is about resolving issues and moving on to the next storyline. And what is happening is you're trying to bring on stuff that had nothing to do with currently what's happening on the show. You're trying to bring up stuff from 10, 15 years ago to have a storyline, to have a reason to have a beef with somebody, and it's not going to work. If you can't, you know what I'm saying, go along to get along, don't be on the show. If you're trying to work out all these schemes and alliances instead of being yourself, don't be on the show. If you're trying to self-produce, don't be on the show. Like, it's clear as day. But nonetheless, that is the it. that is it for this video. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of Andy Cohen's comments that basically confirm that Kelly and Shamea are going to get it bad? What do you think of K.Michelle turning on Shamea? But we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen. K.Michelle was going to realize that hitching her wagon to Shamea was going to be an epic fail. And K.Michelle is going to do anything to stay on this show. And even if that means, you know what I'm saying, whatever side she's going to be on, that was going to be the whole play when it all started. I always said that this alliance was not going to last, just like last season's Shamea alliance didn't last. So that's it for this video. Do me the biggest favor, and that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. There's that. That is it. That is all. Es todo es final. Es finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post some content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.